Hey, good day, everybody. Welcome back to our Genesis class, live from Jerusalem with the Rabbi Chaim Goldberg of the Noahide World Center. Always an exciting, excellent class. I see we've got some of our usuals out there. We got Barbara from Germany. I see I got my mother there from Southern Ontario, my friend Robbie from down in Texas. Always good to see you folks join in. Feel free to like the video on YouTube and share it on social media. So let's just jump right in. Shalom, Rabbi Goldberg. So good to be with you again, sir. I did reread the section 95 of the first essay of the Kuzari, so I'm prepared. I don't know about everybody else. Hopefully they did their homework, but we're going to turn the class over to you, Rabbi. Take it away.
Good evening, everybody. Dan, I understand that you were very frightened from your mother, so you did your homework. Very good for everybody. Fair enough. Okay, good evening, everybody. Good to see you. Good to see all those who came to the class here, all those who are on the internet, and we can't speak with them directly, but we're speaking with them through the internet. Yes, let's start. Everything is fine here in Jerusalem, more or less, like everything else. Hope that everything is a blessing and good in the other places of the world. I know that the world is much more warmer than last year, right? Also in England, the frozen England, it's a problem because people in England they're very very tired, very polite, very close people, and suddenly everything is warm. You need to be much more with with much more nice smile in your face. This is life. Fair enough. Let's jump straight ahead. We can start, right, Dan? We can start. Okay, so we spoke last week, and I showed you something that it's a bit of a debate in between the Hebrew sages. Do we have in our world 5 stages or 4 stages? I'm reminding of it. Some of our sages are saying, when they're reading the Kuzari, especially in the beginning of the Kuzari, of Rabbi Yehuda Halevi, they're saying there are 5 stages. We have the metals, stones, all the things that are very fixed, non-animated things. Then we have the stage of the plants, things that are growing up but standing in the exact place all the time, like the trees, the other plants that we have. And then we have the stage of the animals. And above of this, we have the stage of the human being that is thinking. And Rabbi Yehuda Halevi is giving the 5th one. And the 5th one is Moses and the people of Israel, that they have also the possibility of prophecy. This is how a lot of our rabbis are reading the Kuzari. And I said last time, and I'm standing in back of this thing, and I'm not the only one that is reading it like that. And those are things that I got from my rabbis also. But we're speaking only about 4 stages. What the Rabbi Yehuda Halevi is doing is showing that there are 4 stages, and there is a very big question, how exactly to look on the stage of the human being. Is he only a reasonable person with mind, with logic, and this is the only stage that we have? I've heard today a very interesting debate between an atheist and someone who believes in God. And what the atheist said, and it's written down already in the late of the 18th century. What he said, basically, he said, we can understand everything with logic and with science. What we don't understand today, we'll understand tomorrow. Maybe it will take us 200 years. But everything we can see, everything we can understand, that's it. We have no any other God or something above the reality. So this is one way to look as a human being. And there are people who are getting stuck there, and they don't realize that there is much more, also the spiritual side of the world. It's much more wider and deeper and connected and those things. And the Hebrew people are in the stage that they live in this stage of the spiritual side. And they also have the prophecy. Unfortunately, in the last 2,400 years, we don't have the prophecy. And if someone is coming to us and saying to us that he's a prophet, so we know exactly in what hospital to put him. Unfortunately, this is life today. But it's true, Angelica, what can I do? But we have some sort of a reserved air of the prophecy, like the cans of tuna that we have and reserving things in those cans. But basically, the Hebrew, and I showed last week already, that already Adam, the first sentence after God is creating Adam, in unusual way from everything else that he created. Okay, he created a lot of things before he created Adam and Eve. But the first thing, the first sentence, the first verse that is coming after God created Adam, we didn't have any Hebrew people then in this world. So God is speaking with him, he's prophesying him, Adam. And we saw also, we know that God is also prophesying Cain in the next generation. So we're speaking with Cain. So there is some sort of a relation between God and the human, not the Hebrew people. There are all sorts of reasons why parts of the world went out a bit from this umbrella. And the whole world can go back under the umbrella by accepting the 7 laws of Noah, by becoming, related with the Hebrew nation. The mission of the Hebrew nation is to be the people who are cleaning the chimney, okay, between this world and the world above us. We have a chimney to the world above us, and the Hebrew people are all the time have the responsibility of cleaning the chimney so the air will be clear going up and down inside the chimney. So this is how I'm reading the Kuzari. This is how I got it from my rabbis. So we have only 4 stages, and the stage between the animals and the human being is some of the, I will say, the rest of the world went a bit downwards or a bit aside and stayed only with the reason side, with the reason in this world. So I want to show this also in the 95 paragraph. Okay, we need to learn it a bit in the 95 paragraph of Rabbi Levi. And then I will try also to show you an interesting part of from the Talmud, from the Babylon Talmud. So you will realize how come the Hebrew nation didn't get convinced, okay, along the exile that we had for 2,000 years to become Christians or other religions. We stick with the Judaism. We need to understand the mindset, okay? It's not that we are foolish people. We also have the same debates and everything else, like everybody else in this world. On one side, we're going to the toilets, sorry, okay, for this example, but like everybody else. On the other side, we also have all the connections, relation with people, all the emotions that everybody else have. We explained that last time, that a monkey can't do conversion and to become a Jewish person, okay? So the animals are in a different level, but a non-Jewish person can do conversion. A non-Jewish person can give blood, okay, or can give, I will say, parts of his body, like his kidney or something like that, to a Jewish person, and the same vice versa. You know that in the Hebrew, here today in Israel, let me share with you something. There's something amazing in Israel. It is running in the last 15 years. And a lot of people, in a very altruistic way, are donating one of their kidneys to people who their kidneys failed. Okay? And we're speaking about almost 2,500 people already. Now, when you're deciding to do this stage, and you're starting to, all the process, you can tick the box, okay, that you want to give it only to Hebrew people, or you're ticking the box that you can give it also to non-Hebrew people, because in Israel we have also, Arabs, Muslims, whatever, or also Christian people, not only Hebrew people who are living here in Israel. And most of the people, something like between 60 to 70%, also ticking the box that you can give it to whoever is, I can give to, whoever needs, and that is also have a good match with me. So they have in Israel more than 2,500 people that gave already one of their kidneys, and from there on, they're living only with one kidney, They're alive. They're not, they didn't die, okay? I know, I have a few neighbors here that did it. I have someone from the family who did it. And they, in a very altruistic way, decided to go and to do this surgery and to give one of their kidneys to someone who needs it. So what I'm trying to say, it's not only Jewish can give it to Jewish people. We're not speaking about racism. It's not at this point at all. And this is also what we saw last time. And again, it's all the time, this is the mindset of Rabbi Yehuda Levi, of the Kuzari. When he is giving an example, we showed this 2 weeks ago. When he is giving an example, if you compare this to the Maimonides, so the example of the Kuzari is trying to show us something from the outside of this world. Okay, the Indian king. In those days, it's like speaking about the king that came to us from Mars, or something from another planet, very far away. So it's outside of us. And the same thing with Moses when he's speaking last week. What we saw, the paragraph that we saw, he is speaking about something that is coming. Moses is getting his knowledge from prophecy from outside of this world. And this is the Hebrew nation is saying all the time that we're getting something, some knowledge, some connection with the outside of this world. This is why I spoke about the chimney. We have the house of this world. There is a chimney. If you're looking on the house, it's only on the reasonable side. Only science. What can I understand? If I don't understand it, so I will understand another 100, 200 years, maybe, okay? But I will understand at the end. Everything have a reason. Everything here is materialistic and I can measure it. This is one side. We're speaking about something that is above it, something that is a new dimension, a different dimension. So again, if I'm summarizing, we have, as I see it, only 4 stages. The 4th stage after animals, we have the human being. There is a reason why part of the human being went a bit aside, but they have all the possibilities and all the option of going back under the umbrella of the whole, I will say, unit of this world, or unity of this world, under the umbrella of the Hebrew nation, connected with the Hebrew nation. I will explain, I will remind again that one of the things that the Kuzari is bringing, that the Hebrew nation in the world is like the heart in the body. What is the main, I will say, mission of the heart? As I said more than once, okay, I never saw a heart that is going here by itself, going to the store, to somewhere, to the market and buying a bit of, heart is walking there and buying a bit of something. No, the heart is not walking by itself. The heart is only part of a body. Body can't live without the heart, and the heart can't live without the body. So we have a full connection between the Hebrew nation and the rest of the world. And the main part of the heart is to giving the life, okay, the cycle of the blood, cycle of life, to give the oxygen to all of the parts of the world, of the body. And this is basically I will say, the main mission of the Hebrew people, to give life from God to the world, to the whole world. It could be with the Tanya book. It's one of the side books of the Hebrew nation. It's not the main book of the Hebrew nation, but it's giving a lot of life to this world, right, Travis? The Tanya book is giving a lot of life. It could be also with the more, I will say, main books. By the way, the books are only when we started to forget things. We are more working or dealing with live people. This is why it's very important that you will have a rabbi that you can speak with. And it's very important. Why? You need to have someone. The Torah is passing from one generation to another generation through live people, not through dead people, through the books. With all of the respect to the books, the books is something that we start. Nobody wrote a book about how to close the button of his shirt. You know why? Because we never forgot how to close the button. So we're not writing a book. Okay, when are we starting to write books? When we're forgetting how to do it. So we're starting to write books. So the books is only I will say, a step down of the people. So we're starting to write books. So we're not living from the books. We're living from rabbis to students. Remember also this point. Now, after all of this opening, if you have any questions, it's good. If not, we're going to jump inside and to start to read 95 and to see that what I'm saying also, you can read it inside there. It's not my imagination. Are there any questions? Or everybody is very quiet? It's okay. I can't hear you, Angela from England. You need to open Mike?
He says, can we carry on to 95? It's a long one.
It's true, it's a long one, but we're going to read it, step by step. We're not going to read everything together. But let's learn it a bit, fair enough. If I will see that it's very boring, we will jump to other things. Okay. Fair
Hey,
enough.
Rabbi, I may have missed it. Can you explain more about the Kuzari? Can you tell us about that? About him?
Yeah, I will say we spoke about this last week. I will summarize it again. Okay. The Kuzari of Yehuda Levi is stating at the beginning when he is asking, what is your belief? Okay, the non-Jewish person is coming to the Kuzari and asking him, coming to the rabbi and asking him, what is your belief? And the rabbi is answering him, I believe in God who took us out from Egypt, gave us food in the desert, brought us to our homeland as he promised. This is what I believe in. So the non-Jewish person, the king, he was very upset. He said, I'm asking you who you believe in. And he's saying to me some sort of historical stories about someone that is guiding you. This is not God who created this world. And then Rabbi Yehuda Levi is explaining to him that to believe on someone who created the world or didn't create the world, nobody can explain this logically. No one was there when the world was created. Therefore, and this we know it today, 400 years after that, when Immanuel Kant said it also, that you can't prove that the world was created. You can't prove that the world wasn't created. You don't have any logic, I will say, absolute proofs to one side or to another side. You don't have any. Therefore, I'm speaking about the live experience that I had from my God. Now, in the fourth commandments, when God is speaking about Shabbat, he's saying, keep the Shabbat because I created the world. So after we had the experience that God took us out from Egypt, we can also understand, we also believe him that he also created the world. We also saw in these specific 10 commandments that God is controlling the world, okay? And the next stage was that the Kuzari said to him, if so, Nathan, if so, this religion is only for you, the Jewish people, because only you went out from Egypt. Only you came to the Hebrew land. And the answer of the Rabbi Yehuda Levi is, you're right, it's only for us. And this is really annoying, the non-Jewish person. You know why? Because in those days, and also today, okay, when you're speaking about the Muslim concept, that everybody's supposed to become Muslim, right? When you're speaking about the Christian concept, everybody's supposed to believe in Jesus, right? Suddenly, those unbelievable nonsense Jews, they are speaking about only they are supposed to become Jews. That's it. Nobody else is supposed to be Jewish. So he's saying to him, it's only for you. And the answer of the Jewish person, Rabbi, you're right. It's only for us. So he's really getting annoyed. So why I'm calling you? Maybe you believe in something, maybe everything is fine, but it's not related to me. So he's saying to him, no, listen a bit to what's happening. And then he's speaking about the stages that we have in this world. We have the stage of the metals, stones, earth, everything that is not alive. Okay, what we know today in the chemist world, something like 95 main parts, okay, that we have in this world. Then we have everything that is a bit alive by growing up, all the plants, trees, whatever it is that is growing up, all the vegetables. Then we have another stage, all the animals. And then we have another stage, all the human beings. But the human beings have two stages. Those who are getting stuck only with the mind and reason, and that's it. And those who have also the possibility to get related with the infinite, to get related with God who is outside of this world. And those are the Jewish people, the Hebrew people. Now, the rest of the world, they also have this possibility, but they had some sort of a downgrade. So they decided for themselves to be in a different level, okay? But this different level that they are today, it's only permanent. You know, it's not for always. It will change, okay? And the rest of the world will come also under this umbrella. And now we're going to see all of this in 95 also. Okay, so everything is fine now. Let's jump to 95, please. Here we are, Kuzari, 95. Let's go. Now let's go step by step. Okay, let's start, please. I will stop you in a moment, okay?
Okay, the rabbi responds to me, he says, bear with me a little while that I show the lofty station of the people. For me, it is sufficient that God chose them as his people from all nations of the world and allowed his influence to rest on all of them, and that they nearly approached being addressed by him. It even descended on their women, among whom were prophetesses, while since Adam, only isolated individuals had been inspired till then. Adam was perfection itself because no flaw could be found in a work of a wise and almighty creator. Wrought from a substance chosen by him and fashioned according to his own design, there was no restraining influence, no fear of atavism, no question of nutrition or education during the years of childhood and growth. Neither was there the influence of climate, water, or soil to consider, for he created him in the form of an adolescent, perfect in body and mind. Can you scroll it up, Rabbi? Yeah. The soul with which he was endowed was perfect. His intellect was the loftiest which it is possible for a human being to possess, and beyond this he was gifted with the divine power of such high rank that it brought him into connection with beings divine and spiritual, and enabled him with slight reflection to comprehend the great truths without instruction. We call him God's son, and
enough for a moment. I know that it's the middle of the sentence, but please enough. First of all, we see it till what we read now. First of all, where are we starting? In what point of history are we starting? You can all answer. Speaking about Adam and Eve, this is the first point that we're starting. If we're starting with Adam and Eve, we're not starting here with Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. We're not starting with Moses. We're not starting with the Hebrew people, with Abel. We're starting with Adam and Eve. The meaning of this is that everybody in this world are in this level, or have the possibility, the potential of becoming on this level. Point number one. Remember that. This is a very important point. This is what I said before. We're not speaking about that there is all of the human being, and above of this, we have the Hebrew nation. We will see in a moment what is the uniqueness of the Hebrew nation. But we need to realize that it's not speaking about this stage is the stage of all of the humankind. They have the potential of becoming on this stage.
Yeah, the potential is there.
Second point, and this is very important. People don't realize that. The second point is that you said it, you read here that there are two sides of this human, of this Adam. On one side, he's an intellect. On the other side, he's spiritual side. Those are two things, as we said. This is basically, we saw this last week, and you can read it again in the chapter between 20 to 25, that he's speaking about the intellect of the man on one side, and then to Moses, this is the spiritual side on the other side. Both of them you have in Adam. Adam, the most important, we'll say, person here, that we are all his sons. We all came from him. Even the woman came from Adam. Don't forget that. Everything is starting from Adam. Who created Adam? God created Adam. God gave him the spirit of himself, okay? So we're speaking here about that the stage of the human being is starting with Adam, you have the intellect side, you have the spiritual side with relation with God. This is where we're starting everything. And he's saying here that his name is the Son of God. I want to show this for a moment, that it will be clear, okay? Let me show you something very important from the Bible. At the beginning, I don't think that we ever touched these points, but it's a time to say something here about this, okay? No, I need to go another chapter, just a moment, sorry. Please read verses number 1 and 2.
1. And it came to pass when man commenced to multiply upon the face of the earth, and daughters were born to them, that the sons of the nobles saw the daughters of man when they were beautifying themselves, and they took for themselves wives from whomever they chose.
So we're speaking about two kinds of people here in this world, right? One kind is nobles. In Hebrew, it says, Bnei Ha-Elohim, the sons of God. You see, here it's written down nobles. I don't know exactly, again, who is translating here. Most of the time it's good. But this is exactly the term that the Kuzari is using, Bnei Ha-Elohim, the sons of God, okay? And we have also the kids of Adam, the daughters of men. We have here two kinds of people, I will say like that are combined together. By the way, the sons of God, we can find it. Let me jump again. Let me show something from Psalms. Psalms, we all know Psalms, right? Psalms number 82. 82. No. Ah, yes. Sorry. Please read verse number 6.
6. I said, you are angelic creatures, and all of you are angels of the Most High.
Elohim atem, you are the kids, or you are like gods, the sons of God. Because you sinned, you will die, okay? My intention was that you will be on the level of the sons of God. And this is exactly what we saw in the Kuzari. Don't say to here it is. This is exactly what we saw in the Kuzari. Okay? And we call all those who are like him also sons of God. You see here? We don't have the Hebrew nation yet. Don't get confused. Everybody have this potential. Everybody have the possibility of this. We don't have the Hebrew nation yet. Not at all. This is exactly what I said. Everybody is in this stage. 95, written down very loud and clear. It's written down already in Psalms. It's written down in Genesis, before the Hebrew nation came. So we call him, and all those who were like him, the sons of God. Now let's continue on. Okay? He left. Sorry. Please continue, please.
Okay, gotta find. Okay, he left many children, of whom the only one capable of taking his place was Abel, because he alone was like him. After he had been slain by Cain through jealousy of this privilege, it passed to his brother Seth, who also was like Adam, a being as it were his essence and heart, whilst the others were like husks and rotten fruit. The essence of Seth then passed on to Enosh, and in this way the divine influence was inherited by isolated individuals down to Noah. They are compared to the heart. They resemble Adam. They were styled sons of God. They were perfect outwardly and inwardly, their lives, knowledge, and ability being likewise faultless. Their lives fixed the chronology from Adam to Noah, as well as from Noah to Abraham. There were some,
Just a
however,
moment, just a moment, just a moment, just a moment. First of all, it's interesting to see he's speaking here about two things. He's comparing these to two things. First of all, he's speaking about the heart, and we spoke about this, the heart and the rest of the body. And you need the rest of the body. The heart can't go by itself to the market. Okay, it's not working like that. And the second thing that he's speaking about the fruits and what is protecting the fruits. Okay, it's written down here. The word rotten is not mentioned in the Hebrew or in the Arabic thing. Okay, it's more the when you peeling. What exactly the thing that you're peeling from the fruits? When you have an orange, you're peeling from the fruits. You're peeling from the fruit. How do you call it? The skin. Yes. Okay. So we're speaking about the main part of the fruit and the skin part of the fruit. You can do from the skin a lot of things. You can do from this jam, whatever it is, a lot of things. But again, those are the two examples that he's giving. So we have here those who are more the leading side or the educational side or the spiritual side in this world, and the rest of the world that is more, I will say, everything around it. Also the heart that is being placed in the middle of the body have a lot of skin around it. Not only skin, but also all the rest of the things. The heart is very reserved in the main part of the body. Okay, so let's continue on. Most important point again, that he's speaking about isolated individuals. He's speaking about individuals all the time. One person, two person, few persons, few people, but more as individuals. And this is where we're starting to move from here, and we will start to understand a bit what's happening in the Hebrew. In the Hebrew tradition or the Hebrew, what exactly is just a moment, something is bothering me. Okay, let's continue on.
Okay.
You see here, this is where we are, just a moment.
There were some, however, among them who did not come under divine influence, as Terah, but his son Abraham was the disciple of his grandfather Eber, and was born in the lifetime of Noah. Thus the divine spirit descended from the grandfather to the grandchildren. Abraham represented the essence of Eber, being his disciple, and for this reason he was called Ibri. Eber represented the essence of Shem, the latter that of Noah. He inherited the temperate zone, the center and principal part of which is Palestine, the land of prophecy. Japheth turned towards north and Ham towards the south.
Just a moment. For here, let's stop for a moment. We spoke about this, that Abel was also a prophet. I will show this again. It's something that we explained, I think, a year ago already. If we're going back to we're going to chapter 11, and in chapter 11, oh no, come on, I'm sorry, my mistake. In chapter 11, when we have the Tower of Babel in the beginning, and then we have all the destiny of all the generations of Shem. Okay, so we're running from one generation to another generation. And here we have that Abel is one of the destiny. Please read this one. 16.
And Eber lived 34 years, and he begot Peleg.
The word Peleg in Hebrew, so if I will translate this to English, the meaning of this is separation. So who is calling his son a separation? Okay, what exactly is hidden here in this thing of the separation? So let's see for a moment Rashi. Rashi is very important here, and he's explaining it from the Midrash. He's quoting the Midrash. maybe I need to move to chapter 10. Just a moment. Let me see. Yes, just 1 minute here. Oh, sorry. It's in chapter 10. Sorry. Please read verse number 25.
25. And to Eber were born two sons. One was named Peleg, because in his days the earth was divided, and the name of his brother was Joktan.
We speak Peleg in his days. The earth was divided. So the Peleg is explaining that the world was divided. This is the word Peleg, to divide. And now,
You want me to read Rashi?
yes, please.
Was divided. The tongues became confused, and they were scattered from the valley and were dispersed throughout the entire world. We learned that Eber was a prophet, since he named his son for a future event.
Okay, so here, the future event, the word Peleg is explaining, is the meaning of the dispraise. Okay, dispraise. This is the word Peleg. So he was already a prophet. And Abraham, now if I'm jumping back to the Kuzari, Abraham, okay, was
Represented the essence of Eber, yeah.
Okay, beginning is described, and for this reason, he was called Ibri. Okay, Ibri, he was also with the prophet. Let's continue on a bit more to understand what's happening here, please.
Okay, it says Eber represented the essence of Shem, the later that of Noah. He inherited the temperate zone. I read that. The essence of Abraham passed over to Isaac, to the exclusion of the other sons, who were all removed from the land. The special inheritance of Isaac. The prerogative of Isaac descended on Jacob, whilst Esau was sent from the land which belonged to Jacob. The sons of the latter were all worthy of the divine influence. That's a key point there, as well as the country distinguished by the divine spirit. This is the first instance of the divine influence descending on a number of people, whereas it had previously only been vouchsafed to isolated individuals.
So we were jumping, and this is one of the most important parts of the Hebrew nation. We're jumping from particular individuals to a full, I will say, nation. Okay, we're starting to move to a nation. This is the uniqueness of the Hebrew people. Not, of course, that as a full nation, God is speaking with them. God is appearing in front of them. But this is the uniqueness of the Hebrew nation. Basically, the rest of the world also can come to this stage. There are reasons why it didn't happen. Fair enough, but they can come under this umbrella now. Let's continue on, please. And it's only in the place, in the Hebrew land. Also,
right.
we need to remember that.
Can you scroll it up a bit?
Yes.
Was that then God tended them in Egypt, multiplied and aggrandized them, as a tree with a sound root grows until it produces perfect fruit, resembling the first fruit from which it was planted. Example: Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, Joseph, and his brethren. The seed further produced Moses, Aaron, and Miriam, Bezalel, Oholiab, and the chiefs of the tribes, the 70 elders, who were all endowed with the spirit of prophecy. Then Joshua, Caleb, Hur, and many others. Then they became worthy of having the divine light and providence made visible to them. If disobedient men existed among them, they were hated, but remained without doubt of the essence, inasmuch as they were part of it on account of their descent and nature. Can you scroll up a little more? And begot children who were of the same stamp. An ungodly man received consideration in proportion to the minuteness of the essence with which he was endowed, for it reappeared in his children and grandchildren according to the purity of their lineage. This is how we regard Terah and others in whom the divine afflatus was not visible. though to a certain extent it underlay his natural disposition so that he begot a descendant filled with the essence, which was not the case with all the posterity of Ham and Japheth. We perceive a similar phenomenon in nature at large. Many people do not resemble their father, but take after their grandfathers. There cannot consequently be any doubt that this nature and resemblance was hidden in the father, although it did not become visible outwardly, as was the nature of Eber in his children, until it reappeared in Abraham.
Okay, so we have here the concept. The concept is very clear. It starts from Adam. It's not starting from Abraham or from Abel. It's continuing on. There is a time that God is moving it to a full nation, and the rest of the world can join this, because we all have this potential from Adam and Eve. We all have this potential, and it's not that we have 5 stages, we have 4 stages, and the rest of the world moved a bit aside, and they're supposed to come back. This is more or less what I explained last time. I'm asking myself if, first of all, if there are any questions for all of this that we read and that we explained. If there are any questions, please, this is the time. Not everybody together. Feel comfortable. Yes. Yes, Bart. Mazel Tov, Bart. Mazel Tov, Bart. Very important. Blessing day. You know that Rabbi Nachum in Breslov is saying that the day that you came to this world, you have a birthday today. The day that you came to this world is showing that the world had no possibility to continue on without you. Mazel Tov for a lot of good life and healthy and wealth and everything else. Yes, please.
Thank you. I've read here that Abraham was a disciple of Eber. What is meant by being a disciple? Is this the same relationship as a student to a rabbi? Or what is meant?
No, first of all, Abraham, I must say 2 things about Abraham, okay? First of all, he was searching for the truth, and he tried it in a lot of places. Our sages are the same. So all of those who are asking me, you know, as Noahide, but I'm searching, I'm asking, I'm inquiring, whatever it is, very important. Continue on, okay? Abraham also did it, and he learned. He met Noah. If I remember correctly, Noah still was alive for 48 years of Abraham, right, Rabbi Shmuel? I think if I remember correctly, only after 48 years that Abraham was alive, Noah died. And Abel also, he met Abel and he spoke with him and he learned from him. So it's also as a student from his rabbi, he was also his grandfather, you know, someone that he've learned from, but it was also part of him. It's like I will say it like that. It's like when you're planting a tree, okay, an apple tree, you will have only apples. You won't have pineapple. You won't have any grapes or something else. It's an apple. So Abel was part of the roots of Abraham. So Abraham grew out from Abel. He didn't came out from Seth or from Japheth. Okay, there are those who went aside, Japheth and Abel. Abraham was part of the Shem destiny, so he grew up from Abel. So it's the same fruit, the same fruit. So on one side, there are 2 levels of speaking about. Okay, I will say there is a potential level inside, and there's also how to take it outside to the world with his behavior, with his knowledge. There are 2 things. So on one side, he is from the destiny and he's from part of Shem. It's inside him. Terach also had inside him the part of Shem, but Terach didn't show this outside. Abraham also showed it outside. This is what is confusing, especially the Christian beginners. Okay, I'm speaking about the 200, 300 years from the beginning of the BCA, of counting the years. And they said, no, because the Jews didn't behave in the right way, so God threw them out. No, it's not working like that, because we have we are looking all the time on two different, I will say, resources. One is what exactly is the destiny that we came from. And the other one is, are we showing this outside or are we not showing this outside with our behavior? Those are two different things. Also, last time when we showed a bit in the Kuzari that God is guiding us on one way through our behavior, but also through his will. And we showed it. We gave an example from the king's story, okay? Where the people there were very worshipping idolatry, and God saved them because it's not only through their behavior. So we're not supposed to be confused. So on one side, Abraham is related to Shem, to Abel, because he is on the same root of Abel. Okay, both of them are giving apple fruit. Okay, not something else. So the same and the same, I will say, tree. And on the other side, are they giving the fruit or not giving the fruit? Are they doing, their behavior is in the right way or not? This is the second thing. And it's written down about Abraham that God is saying to him, okay, let me show this. It's I think it's very clear, very known, but I will show this. I think it's here, right? Yes. In Genesis, we have, let's close for a moment, Rashi. It will help us. When we're showing in Genesis chapter 18, I lost it. Okay. So we have here something very interesting, a very, very, very important verse. First of all, in verse number 17, please. Let's read three of them, 17, 18, and 19. Please, Dan.
All right. And the Lord said, shall I conceal from Abraham what I am doing? And Abraham will become a great and powerful nation, and all the nations of the world will be blessed in him. For I have known him because he commands his sons and his household after him that they should keep the way of the Lord to perform righteousness and justice, in order that the Lord bring upon Abraham that which he spoke concerning him.
So we have here that God is saying not only that he is the blessings for the world, this is, I will say, some sort of a tree that is giving blessing to the world, but also Abraham himself, he will teach, he will guide his household and his people that came out from his destiny to behave in the right way. Those are two things that we have inside here. And this is what the Kuzari told us or taught us in this 95. There is some sort of a string that is coming from Adam and Eve. Part of the people went aside a bit, especially for the destiny of Sheth, Shem, Ham, Yafet. We have Avram that went to Africa, and from Japheth went to the Europe area, okay, and from there also to the United States, to these parts of the world. So we have the mainstream of the tree that is giving the blessing to the world, and the next thing is also that they need to behave in the right way. This is the second thing. In the land, they can behave in the right way. Outside the land, it's a bit more complicated. Okay, clear enough? Rabbi Shmuel, please, I'm sorry. Good evening, Rabbi Shmuel. If you want to, I will be silent a bit and please speak, please. Rabbi Shmuel, we can't hear you. Please open your mic.
Hear me better now, I imagine. Yes. Okay, first of all, I'm saying I was very in touch to hear the comments that were mentioned until now. And if I can follow from there, although I was planning to talk about something else, but since that's what the rabbi had discussed, I think we have to clearly highlight that the superior ethics that is mentioned in that verses in Genesis 18, which Dan just read, is basically the formula of how our world is meant to actually sustain and to continue to follow. In the ethics of the fathers, there are two different passages that talk about the number three things which are the fundamental elements of the world: the Torah, the temple service, and acting in charity. And then at the end of that very same chapter, it mentions the three things that keeps the world functioning, and that's justice, truth, and peace. In other words, it's one thing for the world to be created, for there to be a Torah, for there to be a service, prayer, and temple, and to be kind, but there has to be also law and order, which is based on truth. And that's what Abraham and the Semites are highlighting in their activity. And to that end, even in the historical period of the Jewish calendar now, which to a certain extent commemorates the destruction of the temple, the prophet Isaiah highlights that the redemption of Jerusalem from the potential destruction comes through acts of kindness and justice. That seems to be the fundamental backbone that keeps our world together and makes it a better place to live in. And as we start reading Deuteronomy this forthcoming weekend, Moses has a feedback that he gives us about what he had seen about our behavior in the previous generation, which he was leading the people. And he's basically saying that
We lost him.
Well, Rabbi, one thing I find very important as I was reading the Kuzari earlier, when he spoke about Adam, okay, he used an unusual word. He said when he was created, there was no fear of atavism. And I think this helps tie in this entire point and where Rabbi Hirschler was going with it. If people know what atavism is, atavism is a tendency to revert to something ancient or ancestral biologically, and an example of that in human beings is considered when they're born with what's called a vestigial tail or oversized teeth like primitives, right? But hidden within the genes are the potential to revert to an atavism, and it stated that Adam had no fear of atavism. The point being, I think that the rabbi's bringing out is that within all people there is a potential to awaken what is supposed to be awakened in growth. And I like your analogy of the chimney sweeper opening the floodgates. Most people want to connect with Hashem that are tuned in here, and understanding what an atavism is. It's like a biological hidden encoding, but what the rabbi is sharing here is, I think that there is the nugget is the connection between humanity and Hashem, and how it ties in with the behavioral ethics. I think is where Rabbi Shmuel was going with his point. Has he made it back yet or no? Oh,
100%. I'm
Okay.
with you completely. I heard every word you were saying. And I absolutely agree with the analysis that you have brought forward. I think that if I take also what Rabbi Goldberg was talking about, Rabbi Chaim beforehand, about, for example, ever compared to those who were before, he, in that sense, was a person who had seen, in a time when people were often corrupt, he was able to identify what justice is. And in that sense, Abraham is a spiritual descendant of him, because when you live in a time when justice seems to be defeated by powers that are fighting against it, it's not easy to overcome, but that's part and parcel of what has happened. I have a belief, I don't know if you all agree with me, but because of the terrible first half century of the 20th century, with 2 world wars and Holocaust and Stalin and other dictatorship that was going on later on also in China, the real response to it is the ethics of the Jewish people in the state of Israel, who are actually offering a response to the entire world, how to try to act in decency even when people are coming to threat your own life. These people were acting with evil behavior when they were not in a tenth of a threat than what we encounter in our day and age. And we go out of our way because of the teachings of Abraham to show how you can be a decent person in a world where you are being threatened on your own, and you carry on things from there and you take it in a positive sense of the word. It's something which is so non-taken for granted. And that was part of the change that the Kuzari also sees the divine message seen in the behavior of the Jewish people because of this amazing ethical standard, which is in the backbone of our requirement. While I was about to tune into the lecture, I was preparing 2 other lectures of my own related to the ethics found towards the end of the Bible as we are getting closer to it in this period of the year. And you see how central that it has been our teaching and our behavior. And we paid a heavy price for it. People like Nietzsche and other philosophers who thought that the ethics that we are requiring is something which is unnatural to the human race. And they took it in a very evil way, some of their followers. I'm not suggesting that Nietzsche was anti-Semitic himself, but people took his ideas in a way which were very problematic. And that doesn't mean that because we have encountered such behavior that we retaliate in such a way, because we are looking for the well-being of our society. We are happy to be part with all of you and not to be, particular and ignoring the other parts of the universe. And not to say there are a lot of Gentiles and a lot of good people in the general world as a whole, and all of those people are the real children of God. This is what I like. I very strongly believe in this.
Yeah, that's well said, Rabbi. Thank you so much, Rabbi Hirschler. Does anybody else have any comments or questions on what we're discussing in the with Rabbi Goldberg? Have you got any further comments?
First of all, I must say that it's admirable to see Anava. She can say hello also. She grew up very nice. Excellent. Yes, please, Travis.
When you were going through when we were going through the first reading of the Kuzari, and it said there was no restraining influence, no fear of atavism, no question of nutrition or education during the years of childhood and growth. Neither was there any influence of climate, water, or soil to consider. My thing was, as we were reading this, it goes to what I'm paying attention to in the world today. We didn't have to worry. When Adam was created, he was perfect. He was fed the perfect fuel, his engine, the body that was created for him was perfect. It was fed God's creation. Today, we've allowed Monsanto and other entities to come in and modify vegetables, modify the seeds, modify God's creation. And now we put that into our bodies, right? Instead of what God originally created and intended for the body. So is it better, my thing is it better to be more of a holistic, trying to get heritage seeds, grow your own food as we were commanded? Or should we continue on this route that we're going? I see that to become perfect, we need to eat the engine, the fuel that God created, right?
But I will say that there are 2 different issues you raised up here, okay? One of them is the question how much we need to go back to the roots, to the relation, to the connection with the earth, with the organic things. And the other thing is, do we need to do everything by ourselves? So for the second question, do we need to do everything by ourselves? The answer is no. This is why we have one each other, okay? And today we have more free time.
Oh, no,
we do other things and have also time and possibility of learning faith and learning or getting connected with God. So we don't need to do everything. Are you asking me if it's much more healthier and much more better to get related to the source of the food, and not only to all of this, I will say,
Right.
organized food that we have today that is putting a lot of non not very good things. I'm not a doctor, I'm not a medicine doctor, but we all know exactly what is more healthy and what is less healthy.
Right.
And I think that people are supposed to be very careful with themselves, to do sports, and also to eat healthy things,
True.
not to go to the things that are harming the body. And I saw once a saying, the Maimonides, I don't remember where it is, maybe Rabbi Shmuel will remember exactly where it is. I think it was in the opening of the Ethics of the Fathers. The Maimonides is saying like that. He's saying, it's a very powerful sentence. He's saying like that. I wish men will save and work properly with his body, just like he is keeping care on his donkey. And the donkey in his days was the car that we have today. So if I will rephrase it, I will say, I hope that every person will behave with his body just like he is behaving with his car, taking it to the to check this up and to repair it every in the exact time, so it will work or nothing will fall apart.
Well, yeah, my thing is, it wasn't about doing it on our own, because I grow my garden and I take vegetables every day and give them away. I give them to people that need them, people that want them. My thing is getting closer and opening the spiritual connection with the Creator, is getting back to his creation and away from man's creation, or man's modification of creation.
Fine. And there are others. It's also, we need also to respect that
as long as you're not making it a religious rite.
Exactly.
Right.
And especially that there are others
Well,
that they have the possibility, I will say, or can give the world other things. Like, just giving an example, okay, for they can be educators, they can be social workers, and they could be something else. And they're buying those things, from people like you, or from the organic food. Yes, exactly. So it's not, this is not the, let's not be stricted that this is the only way of getting closer to God. The main part of
right, and understand.
True that.
It's not the only way, but it's certainly a very positive way. Either way is okay.
Also, on the other side of the coin, you can technology has potential advantages that, if worked properly, can do a lot of good on a mass scale, like we see with the internet. But it also has the potential for going in the wrong direction, which I think is Travis's concern. Getting back to roots on a personal level. Purity and wholesomeness has its place for sure. But development for the better of mankind also has its place as well. You don't want to throw the baby out with the bathwater, in the sense.
Well, true that. But my thing is, that's what I was getting at, is we have a lot of the insulin resistance. We're not absorbing the nutrients. We're not absorbing the water that we had before, and people are dying from it. I mean, diabetics, insulin resistance. It's from chemicalized sugars, is it not? It's from man's product, not from the cane sugar that God created. You think back to when we were children, we didn't have insulin resistance so much because there wasn't any of these chemicals. They weren't man-made.
There wasn't enough market study to even understand. And even now, was it what's that sugar substitute has now been labeled a carcinogen. The point being, it's trial and error. And I guess personally, I'm against giving up trying, because there is what to be said about the lessons that we learn. You got to look at a lot of trials as lessons rather than errors, right? There are opportunities
for machine created by the Father put us in, right? It's like a car. We use an automobile. So if we got a gas burner, we don't put diesel in fuel in it because it won't run. Same thing with gas. So
Well, yeah, and now we're now the rage is air pollution from
right.
automobiles and
We've
the
got
switch
so
to
many
electricity.
things
I
that
mean,
we've done to this world, we have to correct it, right?
yeah, I'm with you on correcting it, but I wouldn't want to throw out technological advancement and all become
Oh no, I'm not
farmers.
saying,
And
that's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying that we should try to eat better and stay closer to God. It might elevate our spiritual essence if we were eating His product and paying more attention to what we were putting in our body.
I'm with you 100%, and I
That
think
was all I
the
was
key is
trying to say.
gratitude.
I'm not here to debate it because everybody does what they want to do. And we are in a world where we have food shortages and shortages of everything. So we have to do what we have to do to keep people healthy.
Yeah, the sad part is you get a lot of economic elites design dependency for the value of product. I mean, we just had a huge shipping issue here in the port of Vancouver, and it's almost like the whole strike was engineered and forced to give rise or to justify more price increase.
Yes.
Yeah, so there are minds out there that are working in the wrong direction to increase profitability at the expense of the potential. There's so many people out there that can't afford healthy living, and that's a very, very sad state of affairs.
Isn't that amazing that people can't afford healthy living when if they have followed the commandment to scratch the earth to produce your food, they would be much healthier.
Yeah, yeah. If you can find a plot of land where you are, yeah, and so yeah.
Food.
I mean, where I live, there's community gardens and
oh yeah, we got them too.
Yeah,
People are learning. People are coming back.
There are a lot of people's mindsets are realizing what's more important, and we hope that the light of Torah catches their ears and their eyes, and they tune in for sure, because they'll learn more of healthy walking and living for sure.
Okay, fair enough. Any more questions or something that people want to raise up? Thank you very much, Travis. I think it's a very important point you mentioned. Yes, please, Collins.
Yeah, when I read the Kuzari, I found that the debate was between the king and was comparing Islam, the philosopher, and Christianity. And from what he said, those who will be like Adam, or like, those qualities would be like sons of God. I find that there's another class which is predominant, that of paganism and idol worship. And into this world, we have idol worship in different forms around societies, which is actually spreading in disguise of different names. And so what I want to really ask, how did the knowledge of idol worship and its methods and processes engulf the various regions of the world that is still growing today, and that challenges living life close to be like Adam, or be like Noah, or be like Abraham?
You're asking basically what happened, that we came to a stage of these more and more
Idol
adultery in
worship,
this
yes.
world.
Yes.
The Maimonides is explaining that. He's really explaining this. It's a very, very simple chapter to read and to understand. I will say it in few words, but he's saying that people came to a wrong assumption that if God put here in this world the sun, and the sun every morning is raising up, giving a lot of oxygen on one side, a lot of life, warming things, lights, very powerful, the sun. So people thought that God wants us to worship the sun and to worship the moon and to worship a lot of, I will say, powers that we have today in the world. Think for a moment how much powers of life we have inside the earth. all the plants, all the animals that are eating from the plants. There's a lot of powers of life inside the earth. And what happened is that people thought that if God gave those elements some sort of I will say, strength and powers here in this world, so we as human beings, we need to worship God through them. And this is where the idolatry came to the world. But it was a mistaken thought, because those things have no, I will say it like that, they have no way, they're not independent, and they have no free will. You can't speak with them. I'm giving all the time the example, okay? When someone is jumping from the Empire State Building, okay, towards the ground, and after he's jumping, he's regretting that he jumped. And he's asking from the gravity, please, please, I don't want to do this again. So the gravity will answer him, you're right, you won't do this again. Okay? Because it will take him down, that's it. He won't have any, the gravity don't have any possibility of changing the routes of pushing him down towards the end of his life. God forbid it, someone fell down. So the gravity and all of the other forces that we have in this world have no free will, that you can pray to them and you can speak with them. And this was the mistake. On one side, God gave a tremendous powers to few things here in this world. On the other side, God didn't ask us to speak with them, to discuss with them, to pray to them, to worship them. This is idolatry. This was the mistake that happened from Enosh onwards.
Yeah, but I also found that in last week reading, when we read about Balaam, I found that people like Balaam still exist today that have certain kind of powers, and they will demonstrate some kind of occurrences to people in their communities, and they will deceive people as if that is power from Hashem, and mislead more people into idol worship. And so I think there's some powers that are used to deceive society today, and that has great influence for that error still continuing in the world. And those powers, are they from Hashem or how are they?
Okay, so you moved here from all sorts of nature powers towards people. We're speaking about Bilam, and speak about Jesus, and speak about Muhammad. Those are very powerful people that brought something to this world, even though they became, Jesus became an idolatry. In the Muslim, they don't have idolatry, they're worshiping God, okay? But let's speak about the Jesus that became an idolatry, okay? And you can also speak about Bilam and Balak, that did, very powerful people. Differentiate between people and powers that God gave to some parts of this world. People have already free will. Now, in our tradition, we say, it's also written down in the Maimonides, a very amazing thing. God gave them some sort of possibility to influence the world and to help the world to move to another stage. On one side, people took it also to the idolatry side, and this is the wrong thing. On the other side, yes, they managed to bring the world in a weird way, also with a lot of mistaken way, but they managed to bring the world to acknowledge, for example, Jesus, to acknowledge the Messiah, to acknowledge that there is God, idolatry, but there is something above, to acknowledge that there will be a time that the Messiah will come and the prophet will return back. Everybody is speaking about those things. Who spread this over? Jesus. So there's something here that on one side, God is using, I will say. We gave once an example for that. We spoke about the watch that we have. No, let's not go to electronic watch. Let's go to a simple watch. You see, I have a simple watch here that is turning to the right side, right? But inside the watch, we know that there are a lot of gears inside. And some of them are going in the right way, and some of them are going in the opposite way. And only both of them together is giving us the exact timing. At the end, God is using also the idolatry or the bad things that people did here to bring the Messiah at the end. So those are people, or those are, I will say, some sort of powerful thing that happened in this world that also God is a bit involved here, okay? God is using it, I will say. The people maybe used it to bad things, into idolatry, but God at the end is using it to show his unity, to show his oneness, that he is controlling everything and using everything for that.
Thank you.
It's a bit profound understanding, but and again, everything is written down in the Maimonides. I can show you that. I can show you the beginning in the Maimonides. We need to stop now, but in a moment, let me see if I'm finding it in a step. Okay, in one minute.
Yeah, Hashem rules over everything. Is gotta stay in your mind at all times. That even the things that seem unseemly or even evil or wicked, Hashem does permit and brings it around to his ultimate end, and that's what the world's waiting to see. Hashem exalted for being Almighty God.
Let me show for a moment. I think please read for a moment. This is from the end of the Maimonides. Please read for a moment, and this is where we're going to stop for tonight. Okay, please read for a moment this one, and I'm sending you the. I didn't share the screen. Sorry. No, it's my mistake. I'm going to share this also. You see here? You see what you need to read, please? I'm not asking you to read. Yes, please.
Nevertheless, the intent of the Creator of the world is not within the power of man to comprehend, for his ways are not our ways, nor are his thoughts our thoughts. Ultimately, all the deeds of Jesus of Nazareth and the Ishmaelite who arose after him will only serve to prepare the way for Mashiach's coming and the improvement of the entire world, motivating the nations to serve God together. As Zephaniah 3:9 states, I will transform the peoples to a purer language, that they all will call upon the name of God and serve him with one purpose. How will this come about? The entire world has already become filled with the mentions of Mashiach, Torah, and mitzvot. These matters have been spread to the furthestmost islands, to many stubborn-hearted nations. They discuss these matters in the mitzvot of the Torah, saying, these mitzvot were true, but were already negated in the present age and are not applicable for all time.
And others says, no, you need to read a bit more.
I can finish it, Rabbi. Yeah.
Yes, finish it.
Others say, implied in the mitzvot are hidden concepts that cannot be understood simply. The Mashiach has already come and revealed those hidden truths. When the true Mashiach king will arise and prove successful, his position becoming exalted and uplifted, they will all return and realize that their ancestors endowed them with a false heritage, and their prophets and their ancestors caused them to err.
Okay, so we have here some. Don't get mistaken. Okay, that before that he is saying, okay, that all of it was all idolatry. Okay, all the Christianity and everything. But even though there's also some sort of a goodness that is going out. I sent now on the chat. I think yes, on the chat I sent the exact source of this. So capture this from the chat. This is where almost the end of the big Maimonides, and you can read it. You can understand that there is on one side, it's an idolatry. On the other side, there is some sort of a benefit that we have from this thing. Not everything we can understand how God is functioning in this world. There's another Maimonides that is explaining how people got mistaken and started to worship idolatry. So those are the things that we have here. It's a bit more complicated. It's not the thought of the Hebrew nation is not binary, okay? Yes or no. It's a bit more complicated.
Therefore, the vain imaginations of man and all the vain actions of man will have served into the soup of what will be the great glory of Hashem when all is revealed, and we can bask in that wisdom. It's such a wonderful notion for sure. Rabbi, beautiful class today. Thank you so much. Have you got any final words before we consider signing off?
No, first of all, a lot of blessings for everybody. Thank you very much for joining. I must say that I'm not sure 100% about next week. I think that we have a very big demonstration that I need to be part of. Okay, so it might be
let
that
me
we
know.
won't be able to have, but I will let you know at the end of this week. Except for that, a lot of blessings from Jerusalem for everybody, healthy, wealth, whatever it is. See you all.
Thank you so much, Rabbi. And I'm going to send you a video link late tomorrow night my time, so I'm hoping you can review it and maybe give us some feedback. Nonetheless, I will be live in just over another hour with Rabbi Carmi Ingber. He's going to finish off the book of Nehemiah. Should be very interesting. I encourage everybody out there listening to tune back in about 1 hour and 7 minutes. But that's going to be our Genesis class for today. Thank you, everybody, for joining, and I hope everybody enjoyed it as much as I did. We may not have a class next week. Keep an eye out there on social media for the posts, and I will inform and put the links out there as I know they're available. So till the next time we meet, have a wonderful week, everybody.